One Piece is one of the best-selling manga series of all time, and arguably one of the most popular pop culture properties in the whole world. But how did this pirate manga become king of the stories? Given the enormous success of both One Piece and Dragon Ball, it makes sense that Eiichiro Oda was inspired in part by what Akira Toriyama had done with his series. The folks at the One Piece podcast translated an interview between Oda and Naruto writer Masashi Kishimoto, in which the former called Toriyama a huge influence. I'd have to say that Toriyama-sensei has been a huge influence. Of course, there's Dragon Ball, but I really loved Dr. Slump as well. Although the rules of each universe are different, the core elements of One Piece and the rogue cast of characters at its center have a lot in common with the motley crew that Goku assembles over the course of Dragon Ball. In a conversation with Toriyama, Oda even acknowledged that he had fallen in love with Dragon Ball the second he stumbled across it. Oda also said that there were specific things about the art style in the series that inspired him, including the way that Toriyama drew muscles and hands. Although we could forgive Eiichiro Oda for deciding to rest on his laurels after creating one of the most profitable stories in history, that's not the path he chose. Instead, Oda continues to work a very intense schedule and does a lot of the drawing for One Piece himself. This process means that Oda is often working exceedingly long days and suggests that he demands a lot of himself in order to make sure that the stories in One Piece are told the way he wants them to be. Oda reportedly wakes up at 5 a.m. and continues working on through 2 a.m. the next day, and rarely takes a day off even on weekends. One Piece became an enormous success in part because of Oda's attention to detail, and it seems even now that it's world famous, Oda still wants to make sure his story is told with as much precision and care as possible. Oda initially thought that he would be able to end the story of One Piece after 5 years, according to a translated quote found on an Amino anime blog. Although Oda knows how the series will end, he realized it would take him longer to get there than he had initially suspected. He also acknowledged that he liked the story too much to wrap it up that quickly, and ultimately decided to keep it going much longer than originally planned. In 2019, Oda said that he predicts One Piece would end within the next 5 years, according to Anime News Network. The series is on its way toward a definitive conclusion, and at this point, that ending is still the one that Oda envisioned when he initially planned to end the series after 5 years. Although the series will have run for more than 25 years by the time it actually ends, Oda is clearly committed to seeing his vision for the manga's ending realized. On top of the movies, video games, and the anime, One Piece finally got a live-action adaptation in 2023, courtesy of Netflix. The live-action One Piece admittedly caters to American fans of the series, but it also works as a part of Netflix's broader push to reach a larger international audience. One Piece is a global property, and with Oda serving as an executive producer on the series, fans around the world can be comfortable that this new adaptation will continue to work as yet another part of the franchise. Plus, with a second season officially greenlit, fans have more of the live-action adventure to look forward to.
That went pretty well. Don't you think?
Much like how My Hero was a pilot of sorts for My Hero Academia, Romance Dawn by Eiichiro Oda was a prototype for the One Piece story. The first version of Romance Dawn was a 50-page one-shot published in the Shonen Jump 1996 summer special on August 4th. The second version was only 45 pages long and released in the 41st issue of Weekly Shonen Jump the following month. Both versions share similar elements that are present in the finalized version of the manga, while differing in many ways. For example, Monkey D. Luffy is more concerned about going on fun adventures than becoming king of the pirates. The two female leads from the respective versions of Romance Dawn, Silk in the first version and Anne in the second version, are clear prototypes of Nami. The devil fruits are said to come from a mystical tree in the second version of Romance Dawn, while their origin is still a mystery in One Piece. Red-haired Shanks sacrifices his left arm to save Luffy and gives Luffy his straw hat in the first version of the story. In the second version, Luffy is inspired by his pirate grandfather who shares the same characteristics as Luffy's grandfather, Monkey D. Garp in One Piece. Romance Dawn has been adapted in various ways. The first version was adapted as an anime special called One Piece Romance Dawn Story. The second version became episode 907 of the TV anime series. While Monkey D. Luffy went through minimal changes through the various prototypes of One Piece, The remaining members of the Straw Hat Pirates went through various changes in their initial development before becoming the pirates they are today. The characters of Silk and Anne from Romance Dawn paved the way for Nami in the finalized story. However, according to the 4th data book, One Piece Green Secret Pieces, Nami originally had a giant battle axe as her signature weapon instead of a bow and was going to be a cyborg. The adorable Tony Chopper was originally a more realistic reindeer who walked on 2 legs and smoked. In an interview with Shonen Jump, Eiichiro Oda said the reason why he changed Chopper's original appearance is it blended too much with the other characters, so he made Chopper more distinct, cute, and small. The former pirate hunter Roronoa Zoro was envisioned as the bodyguard for Buggy the Star Clown. The chain-smoking cook Sanji was going to be named Naruto, however, with the Naruto manga about to start serialization, Oda wisely changed the name to avoid any confusion between the 2 characters. The fantasy world of One Piece might be a work of fiction, but many of the series' outlandish characters are inspired by real-life pirates from the 17th century. Goldie Roger, arguably the most important character in One Piece, shares inspiration with 2 real-life pirates. The first is the French pirate Olivier Levasseur, who, upon his hanging, tossed a cryptogram from the scaffolding into the crowd and told them if they could figure out the message, his treasure would be theirs. Levasseur's treasure was never found. Similarly, Goldie Roger tells pirates everywhere to go look for his treasure, the One Piece, before he's executed by the world government. The second source of inspiration for Goldie Roger is Henry Every, an English pirate who led possibly the most profitable pirate raid of all time in 1695. After capturing a treasure estimated at around $95 million in today's currency, Every became known as the Arch Pirate for his tremendous wealth. There are other examples of real-life pirate references in One Piece, such as the real Blackbeard, Edward Teach inspiring Marshall D. Teach, leader of the Blackbeard Pirates. There's also the Welsh pirate Bartholomew Roberts, serving as inspiration for Bartholomew Kuma, the Legend of Awilda for Iron Mace Alvida, and the Irish pirate Anne Bonny for Captain Jewelry Bonny. Easter eggs in anime are pretty common, and One Piece is no exception to the rule. One of the most prominent and commonly deployed Easter eggs of Eiichiro Oda is Pandaman, an anthropomorphic panda wrestler he drew for a Kinnikuman character creation contest when he was a teenager, as he explained in Volume 7 of the One Piece manga. As a joke character, Pandaman has been featured in various materials such as anime, manga, movies, and video games. His lore even unfolds in various backgrounds as his love interest Panda Woman, his angry unpaid creditors, the Tomato Gang, and his great rival, the Unforgivable Mask, have all made cameos in Oda projects. Even though One Piece gets away with a lot more than your average kids' cartoon in the US, it still has a younger skewing audience in Japan. Therefore, the anime tends to water down the manga's most graphic moments. Case in point, characters who give the middle finger in the manga do not do so in the anime. There are various examples of characters flipping the bird to others in the manga, so much so that it became a running gag. The one character most associated with this offensive gesture is Trafalgar D. Waterlaw. When Law meets Eustace Kid at the human auctioning house, he gives him the middle finger. In the anime, Law simply shoots Kid a smug grin. When Don Quixote do Flamingo defeats Law in the Dressrosa arc of the manga, Law gives him the middle finger in defiance. The anime version dulls the edge of this rebellious moment by having Law verbally mock do Flamingo instead. There's no question that the works of Dragon Ball and its ilk played a huge role in the development of One Piece, but there's one obscure series that doesn't get enough credit for inspiring Eiichiro Oda. As he stated in numerous interviews, Oda became fascinated with the world of pirates thanks to a little 1974 cartoon called Vicky the Viking. The show, which aired in Austria, Germany, and Japan, follows a boy named Vicky who is the son of Halvar, chief of the Viking village of Flake. Despite being feeble, shy, and terrified of wolves, Vicky manages to get himself and his fellow Vikings out of the toughest situations thanks to his sharp imagination. Interestingly enough, One Piece isn't the only anime inspired by Vicky the Viking. Makoto Yukimura, the writer and illustrator of Vinland Saga, has also cited Vicky the Viking as a source of inspiration, and even drew some of the main characters from the kids' show as cameos in his manga. The One Piece TV anime series from Toei Animation has been on the air since 1999. During that time, the show has undergone various changes in its animation style. The recent adaptation of the Wano Country story arc, for example, has experienced some significant changes in the new show's art style. Of course, change isn't always a bad thing. Episode 1015 of One Piece was praised as one of the most visually stunning episodes in the series' history. However, not everyone is on board with the recent stylistic changes to the show. A few fans have harassed animator Henry Thurlow online, believing him to be the cause of the show's controversial use of power auras that recall fight scenes from Dragon Ball Z. To his credit, Thurlow took it in stride and poked fun at the thought of any single animator having so much creative control over a mega franchise like One Piece. There have also been One Piece fans who have apologized for the harassment Thurlow has received and offered their support. On the One Piece podcast, Thurlow clarified the anime's use of auras, stating that the decision of when to use it and by how much is decided by the individual episode directors. Thanks to the work of Funimation, now known as Crunchyroll, the One Piece anime series has experienced a resurgence in popularity in North America. The series is widely available in its original form, subbed and dubbed on various streaming platforms, in digital stores, and home media releases. Films like One Piece Stampede have been rolled out at North American theaters to commercial success, with One Piece Film Red making its US debut on November 4th of 2022. North American One Piece fans have it good. That wasn't always the case, however, as the defunct 4Kids Entertainment originally owned the English rights to the One Piece anime and subjected it to countless questionable changes. Like most 4Kids dubs of its era, One Piece was heavily censored to ridiculous degrees. The 4Kids dubs were Americanized like crazy and had most of its original music replaced by an interchangeable track. Worst of all, some episodes of One Piece were skipped or merged into a singular episode. Needless to say, fans were not happy with these changes. The lasting legacy of the 4Kids dub of One Piece, however, is its American intro that tells the story of the Straw Hat Pirates through a reasonably corny rap song. Oddly enough, 4Kids also produced an English cover of We Are, the first One Piece anime opening song, but decided against using it. While hardly anyone mourns the loss of 4Kids and their rights to One Piece, the fandom has embraced the 4Kids One Piece intro music. After all, how many other classic anime series can say they've got a rap theme song? And who can hate a line like "Yo ho ho, he took a bite of gum gum"? Sean Freshco Conrad, the man behind the rap, explained how the theme song came to be. He even updated the rap for the crew members that don't get to appear in the 4Kids dub. Who says Monkey D. Luffy doesn't have class? While everyone's favorite straw hat-wearing hero hasn't become king of the pirates just yet, he has set an unexpected milestone in the real world. He became the first anime character to grace the cover of Shueisha's men's Non-No fashion magazine in 2009. This is an amazing feat, considering the publication's 24-year history at the time. It also marked the first time Eiichiro Oda had drawn a cover image for a non-manga magazine. Various aspects of One Piece have been influenced by historical figures and real-life events. When designing the 3 significant marine admirals from the series, Eiichiro Oda turned to 3 late but great Japanese actors as a source of inspiration for their appearances. Kuzan is based on the late Japanese actor Yusaku Matsuda, who starred in films like The Beast to Die, Detective Story, and Black Rain. Matsuda's status as an actor is so legendary that he also serves as inspiration for Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star and Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. Borsellino is based on the late Japanese actor Kunie Tanaka, who appeared in films like The Bad Sleep Well, Sanjuro, and Battles Without Honor and Humanity. Finally, Sakazuki is based on the late Japanese actor Bunta Sugawara. As One Piece is hardly above promoting products now and again, a series of One Piece noodle commercials reimagined the cast as modern-day high schoolers. The advertising campaign was called Hungry Days, and it was for the Japanese food company Nissin Foods to advertise their lineup of instant noodles. The modern-day designs of the Straw Hat Pirates were drawn by Isaku Kubonuchi, Carol and Tuesday, and animated by Shaft Animation Studio. In the ad campaign that ran from May 2019 to February 2020, each commercial focused on a crew member that evoked emotional moments from the series related to that crew member, only reinterpreted to fit the present-day high school theme. The first commercial had Roronoa Zoro swearing to get stronger after losing a kendo match to Mihawk. The second has Nami being overwhelmed by her high school studies and evening work at the Arlong Pirates restaurant. The third commercial has Nefertari Vivi recalling precious memories of her high school friends, the Straw Hat crew, as she transfers to a new school. The fourth is an all-out brawl between the White Team, Whitebeard Pirates, and Red Team, Marines, in an event involving Monkey D. Luffy and his brother, Portgas D. Ace. One of the great things about the One Piece series is the communication between fans and series creator Eiichiro Oda. Through the question and answer column in the manga, Oda often answers fans' lingering questions about the world of One Piece, no matter how ridiculous the questions may be. For volume 56 of the question and answer column, there was one fan who had a more serious question. If One Piece was set in the real world, which countries would the 9 Straw Hats come from? Oda's response? Well, I'll just put what fits with the character's image. Here's what Oda put down. Luffy, Brazil. Zoro, Japan. Nami, Sweden. Usopp, Africa. Sanji, France. Chopper, Canada. Robin, Russia. Frankie, USA. Brook, Austria. Obviously, Africa is a continent and not a country. Whether or not Oda has an extremely limited knowledge of global geography or simply didn't think hard enough about this particular fan question is unknown. Considering the love and admiration Eiichiro Oda and Akira Toriyama have for one another, it was inevitable that the two manga creators would work together on a crossover involving their popular series. And keeping true to their wacky sense of humor, the highly anticipated One Piece and Dragon Ball crossover was anything but normal. Cross Epoch takes the cast of One Piece and Dragon Ball and puts them in a far-out story where Mr. Satan invites everyone to a little tea party after using the Dragon Balls to wish to be king. In the end, the Dragon Ball and One Piece crews all make it on time and have fun. Some of the characters' appearances and occupations are changed to better mirror one another. Bulma becomes a thief to match Nami, Piccolo masters sword fighting to reflect Roronoa Zoro. This isn't the only time One Piece and Dragon Ball have crossed over with each other, as they often appear together in various Shonen Jump-related games like Battle Stadium, DON, or the ill-fated Jump Force. According to series creator Eiichiro Oda, One Piece is entering its final story arc, meaning the series' quarter-century journey will soon come to an end. There's no telling where this ship will sail for its final destination, but there's one thing that everyone can be certain of. Before the series is complete, at least one character in One Piece will wear an eye patch. Confused? In the over 1,000 chapters of One Piece, there has not been a single pirate with an eye patch. The same is true for the anime TV series and movies. Why? According to Oda in the One Piece 10th Treasures Special Collector's book, he said he wanted to avoid the stereotypical pirate look. Oda is not against the idea of drawing a pirate with an eye patch, he's just more interested in the journey that gets them there. He wrote, "I thought if there's an image in everyone's head about what a pirate is, then I thought I would write and draw about the process of the boy getting there. But it's not like I dislike eye patches, so in the final scenes of One Piece there is one pirate who appears with an eye patch." Fans have speculated that the fabled eye patch-wearing pirate character could be Monkey D. Luffy, as the story of One Piece has been his journey from a young dreamer to king of the pirates.